Let's take a bunch of Mr. Potato Head tongues and a chewed up SpongeBob slipper to make FlowerBob. I'm gonna guess his arm was chewed off by a dog, but I got these at a yard sale, so who knows. But I'm gonna start by taking a seam ripper to remove SpongeBob from the rest of the slipper. Beautiful. We got his face panel separated from the rest of his body, which I'm going to glue onto this foam piece here that I cut out to be the center of the flower. But because this piece isn't big enough to cover up the edges of the styrofoam, I'm instead just going to fill them in using some yellow needle felt. And here is our round SpongeBob. I don't know why, but always seeing him in any sort of round shape is just very amusing to me. There is quite a bit of white around the edges still showing from the fabric, but hopefully that'll get covered up. Now back to our tongues. You can probably assume that we're going to be using these for the flower petals. I just stared at the picture looking for what I could use for petals, and I was like, you know what, they kind of look like tongues. So I tracked down a bunch of Mr. Potato Head tongues. So I did paint them a bit more of a red-orange color, but I think if I go in the middles of these petals and add some yellow-orange, it might make them appear like a lighter orange, if that makes sense. I am still going to leave just a little bit of an outline so that it will have that cartoony look still. After a few coats, I did decide to go in and add a little bit of a gradient there with the orange, but I sealed all of them up, so now the petals are all done. But now we're going to work on the stem, and I think I'm just going to make it using felt and wire. We'll see how that goes. I cut out a strip of felt, and I'm just folding it and hot gluing it over this piece of wire. So here's the stem. Also made a couple leaves here. I'm going to go in with some paint just to add a little bit of detail. Now I know in the episode he is sprouting out of the ground, but I think it'd look cuter for a sculpture, just put him in a little flower pot instead. And to fill it up, I'm just going to use a leftover piece of styrofoam here and a piece of cardboard. And I am going to add some sand on top, but first I went in with some clay to just build up the shape. Then I'm going to add a quick coat of paint that's just going to match the color of the sand better. Mod Podge to help the sand stick. The sand, dump out the excess. Hey, that looks good. I'm gonna fill in some of these edges. And while it's drying, I went ahead and started gluing on some of the petals. And I ended up just deciding to paint over the sand because it helps it, again, look a bit more cartoony while also keeping that texture. Now, all that's left is just to attach the stem to the base. And here he is, all finished, our little FlowerBob. Isn't he precious? It's not technically called FlowerBob in the show, but that's what he's referred to as. And those SpongeBob Hope Core slideshows that I'm getting. If your feed isn't full of them, you are missing out, by the way. I'm gonna try to give you all a bit of a 360 here. He's not really meant to be seen from the back, but there it is. The only thing though is that his petals are just a little bit small, but these were literally made out of tongues. I mean, come on. That's pretty cool.